Of applause, everybody. Excellent ride by these three. Cooper Webb, I'll start with you, buddy. You're in the hot seat there, and you earned it. Fastest qualifier. Again, well done there. Second in your heat race. First place overall. You sat on the podium to Will Christian. You had to work for this one. You could hear Chase coming. You made a mistake in the rhythm. Can you take us through that? Kind of your start, by the way, lining up next to Jet Lawrence, whether that was strategy or you was just looking for the best gate pick and the best in front of the great. And then take us through, just from your perspective, how that went for you.
Yeah, like you said, it was a great start. Whole shot, which was huge, and was able to put some good laps. I felt like me and Kenny had a great pace at the beginning, and then honestly, once the rain come, it got a little bit interesting for me. Like, you don't know if you could really trust some of those hard pack areas, and a few of my lines I needed to clean up and be better at. And like you said, I felt like we had a good pace, and I saw Chase catching Kenny, and we were all riding really well, and had a little bit of a gap, and then made that big mistake in the rhythm and tightened it right up quick. And Chase made the pass, and he was coming. He was riding really well, and I could feel him coming. So just try to hit my marks the last few laps, trying to think where he was catching me and where I could pick up time, and that's what I tried to do. So felt good. I haven't led a whole main event in a long time, actually, so it felt great. And obviously to get the co-points lead is amazing feeling.
Yeah, huge. Red plate now will be shared by yourself and Jet Lawrence going into Nashville. Let's open up to the press right here. Scott
Yarjo, Moto Now blog. Cooper, were you aware of where Jet was throughout the race, and were you thinking about the championship points?
Yeah, I mean, it was tough. I saw first lap he was buried like really far back, so it made it tough, right? Because you want to win, but you got Chase and you got him and you got Eli, you got all these guys that are fast, but the championship guys is kind of at this stage who you're kind of thinking about a little bit. So it definitely it was tough to stay locked in because you think about that and you think about maybe taking a second or laying over. So it definitely was challenging to see that right away and then try to push the limit of going out and still get a race win. But we were able to, felt like after a few laps, settle in and lock in.
Mitch Kendrick from Racer X. We'll stick with Cooper here. Were you able to tell where the guys were making up time on you? I know the 3.31 was the rhythm. I don't think you were jumping it, and those guys behind you were. Just talk about the approach to that rhythm specifically as well.
Yeah, I knew that was where, and then the whoops. I was sticking to the jump line, which worked in practice, but it wasn't working in the race. But it's tough when you commit to something and you're out front. It's tough to try something new that you haven't done all day. And I had done the 3N once in practice, but that's it. And I felt like the risk versus reward, unless I really needed to do it, wasn't there. So that was why I was sticking to that. And then, the whoops, the last lap, I finally skimmed it knowing that I needed a good run, and it was night and day better. So you live and learn, and but it's part of it in this class is reading the track and making those adjustments. And like I said, I felt like Chase picked up on some lines that, especially late, that were really good.
Andrew
Ruggiero, Moto Now blog. Chase, the track seemed hard to pass on. Was there a specific part of the track that you thought that you would maybe try to pass Cooper if you got close enough in the last lap?
Yeah, it was definitely hard to pass. I rode, I got by Jason kind of early, and then I got behind Kenny and was behind him for a while. It took me a lot pretty much to set that pass up. It's kind of a lot of setting up outside, cutting under, like trying to get an angle. And I feel like I was fast in the whoops. I feel like I was really good after that. I was going on and off outside and banking off the outside berm, which was fast, but it put me on the outside in the next section. So then I had to square up again. It was just kind of a lot of setup, and you couldn't be super aggressive with how the track was. It was really slippery. So you had to be patient. I got a little antsy after the finish line. I saw Cooper miss the rut, and I kind of went to rail the turn and maybe set up a pass, and my rear end just kind of got over the outside of it. Obviously, the whoops would have been nice, but Coop's he's not dumb. He's going to hug the inside, and even if I had more whoop speed, it's at least him on the inside of me. So it would have been tough, but I feel like I had good speed tonight. It was I was good, decent in the heat race, and then in the main event, I feel like I rode pretty well with how the track was, and just keep pushing forward.
Ryan Nitzen.
Thanks. My question's for Cooper Webb. Coop, it seems like you're just under pressure all day today from Jet in the heat race and then these two guys in the main. What are you doing differently to make sure that you're ahead of you can stay ahead of those guys and your mental mindset?
Start, is key. That's for sure. Especially tonight, like Chase said, it was tough to pass. But It's hard. It really is. I've not led a lot, you know, so it's definitely different up front, and you just kind of have to know where you're fast and where you're not, and try to stick to that. And I think tonight was very hard to pass, but also you could ride behind someone and kind of realize where they're slower and pick up on it. So it's definitely cat and mouse for sure. And at this level, we're all riding so well that if you start up front, we can all go really fast. So like you said, I think today was good though, especially after a break and kind of being off the racing for a little bit. You might come in anxious or a little bit excited and override, and I felt like I did a really good job today with my riding and just finding a good flow all day.
Awesome, great ride.
Kellen Brower.
Thanks, Kellen Brower with MotoOnline.com. For you, Chase, in that first rhythm section, kind of out of turn 1, a lot of guys were sticking to the left and kind of doing that over 3-2 thing. Did you have any particular reason why you wanted to stay right all night?
Actually, I figured out it was faster. That was pretty much the KGSC line right there. I was pretty much going double-double throughout the whole section. But it was, 1, safe, and 2, I could stay low, and it was really easy to do, but I wasn't actually gaining time doing it, which was kind of ironic. Usually the bigger line, you gain time. And honestly, I only did that 3-3 for the finish line in the heat race, and I kind of told myself, yeah, it's not really worth it. It's pretty big, and it wasn't really that much faster, so I didn't do that all main event, but I was sticking to the simple line on the right side and in that rhythm after the start. So I felt like in the sand section as well, you could kind of open that turn up and not have to cut back so tight. And it kind of just made the whole track flow together more. And I think on a track like this, when it's really slippery, you have to find a flow and carry momentum. And that's kind of what I tried to do.
Jason Wygant.
Yeah, thanks, Jason, for RacerX and NBC. I'll go to you, Kenny. How did you pull it together? It was so much better in the main event than it was really in the afternoon. And then even late in the race, you got right back in it with these two. Did you think you even had a shot at maybe getting back by?
Yeah, for a little bit there, I was trying to, for once, do a late race pass on Cooper since he's done it to me like 10 times. But, yeah, I don't know. In practice, it's just been horrendous, honestly. I feel super uncomfortable. Having said that, I have learned to stay cool and wait until like the racing time is when it really counts. But again, we got off to a really good start there and stayed right behind Cooper. I feel like I was really fast in the whoops until I tried to jump, and every time I jumped, I lost ground. But overall, I'm really happy for myself just to actually get it together and be back on the box. I had to ride a little bit defensive, obviously, once Chase got really close, and then he made the pass, but I didn't want to just roll over and then let these guys battle it out for the lead. I wanted to stay in it. I feel like that would have been lame. So I just tried to do the best that I can all the way to the end, and I'm pretty happy with the podium. And honestly, just staying and striking distance with the lead, because some of these weekends I'm way off. So,
Brad Gephardt.
Thanks, Brad Gephardt from Birdmo. Let's stick with Kenny here. Was it frustrating at all trying to find fast lines while having to ride defensive for the most portion of the moto?
I don't know about frustrating. Honestly, had probably the most fun that I've had in a main event since probably 2 or 3 weekends. So I didn't really look at it as frustrating. I did change up my line, like actually after the sand, that whole line, I was doing the left side, the over the tabletop, and I didn't do that all day really. So I actually switched to that, and I was more comfortable doing that. And some of the angles with the way the track was, and honestly, I feel like it's been a minute since we've ridden a track that got ruddy but like a super hard pack and shiny. They have all been really soft. So I don't know. I just feel like in general I wasn't really that good at coming in at the angles that I came in the berms and the way the ruts formed. And I did get better as the day and the night went on. So yeah, like I said, I was super stoked to actually hang in there and be on the box again.
Did you ask Chase if you could borrow that line, or just took that line?
Sorry, say that again?
Did you ask Chase if you could borrow that line in the sand, or?
No comment.
Thanks, boys.
Jamie Guida.
Chase Sexton. When you're behind a guy like Kenny for that long into a race, you kind of get stuck in a pace. When you finally get by him, how difficult is it to ramp it up to get back up to a different level?
It's difficult. I there for a while, I rode really close behind him, and then I kind of, at some point, you kind of hold back a little bit and take, not a breather, but when you have good speed and you're able to ride comfortable and feel like you have more speeds than the guys in front of you, so you kind of hold back and then you try and make a really hard push and see if you can break him. Kenny, he's not dumb either. He knows how to ride defensive, but also he's a super smart rider. So it was hard, and obviously him and I are pretty good friends, so I'm not going to just go in there and absolutely demolish him, which it wouldn't be cool. I wouldn't do that to pretty much anybody, but yeah, I didn't want to do that to Kenny especially, so I just was trying to make a smart pass, and I got close to him a few times, and I was like, man, like I feel like I'm close, but I couldn't make a pass, and then I was able to kind of figure out a line to get around him, and then he sucked right behind me, and I made that mistake after the finish time. I'm like, I am not letting Kenny get back around me, so no, it was good, and we ride together quite a bit, so we're pretty familiar with each other.
You wouldn't have talked to me again for 2 weeks, probably.
No. Yeah, it would have been bad.
Grace?
Thank you. Grace Holding a Speed Sport. This one is also for Chase. Chase, kind of compared to the first half of the season, this second half, it seems like you've really kind of found your consistency. Can you just kind of explain what has contributed to, that consistency and just what's made the difference in your results lately?
Just getting to know the bike more and more. I think we've kind of figured out what's working and what doesn't, and part of that is on me. Obviously, I for a while there, I tried to go down a certain road and it wasn't working. So now we're just starting to figure out what's going to make something work and what's not. So, and also I always feel like these last 5-6 races, I really kind of find my my form. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I kind of have a little bit of a lull mid-season. I lost a lot of points, obviously. So really just looking to kind of go on a roll this last kind of 4 races and try and do what I can. Obviously, it's never over till it's over. We found that out last year. So just try and keep putting myself in good positions. Need to work on my starts, because my starts are absolutely horrendous tonight. So got to work on those and just try and keep getting better.
Dan Beaver.
Dan Beaver, NBC Sports for Cooper. You ended Jet's 3-race winning streak with your win. Now you've finished ahead of him in the last 3 races, with the worst finish second. Is momentum really important at this stage of the season with 4 races remaining?
It's definitely not a bad thing, but yeah, I think it's huge, right? I think he's been really great this year, and a lot of great races. But it's something where I just know it's 17 rounds, and we all get dealt adversity throughout the season, and it can come at different times. And obviously, he had some tough races the last few, and I was able to take advantage of that. But I think the big thing is just staying in it, right? I think a lot of people not only wrote me off at the beginning of the year, but have written us off since Jet's gotten the points lead. So it's definitely rewarding to have the red plate, fight through a lot of the stuff we've been fighting through, and it's not easy. This class and this sport is a top level. So I think I'm really proud of myself for sticking to it and knowing that it was going to come down to a late season points for sure.
And how important is it to be the rider that has now beaten him? Two races out of those 3.
Yeah, I mean it's not everything, right? It's you take it with what it is, right? And I think it's good though. Like, it's good to get in there. Like I said, when he had his 4-win streak going, it's you see that and you're like, man, it's not a great feeling as a racer, and it's not a great feeling as you're trying to catch up on points either. So I think for me, yeah, it's easy to kind of get discouraged or overwhelmed or go, hey, this guy's unbeatable. So I was proud of myself for never, doubting what I can do.
Thank you.
Brent Bowser.
Yeah, Brent Bowser, Whiskey Thorough Media. My question's for Coop. Coop, you've been clawing away at the points for a while. You have the red plate tie with Jet going into the next 4 races. We know you have that dog in you. What can we expect for the next 4 to close out the season?
I think it's tight, right? Like, it's with us for 3 of these, it's the points. Me, Jet, and Chase. It's tight, and pressure is a real thing, right? So it's not like we're midway through the season where you can have a mistake, and you're going to have to start now doing risk versus reward. I truly believe so. I feel like I'm very comfortable in that situation, and I know, like I said, when the pressure's on, what I can do.
Congrats.
Mitch here from RacerX again. Cooper, sticking with you. You mentioned the pressure. Do you feel like you kind of had the points gap that you had? Now you worked back to get into that. Do you feel like the pressure is more on Jet now that you kind of worked through that points gap that you had to come over through, or do you kind of feel like it's an even game now?
It's even, as even as it can be. But I think, I look at it differently. I think pressure is when you're behind. 8 points tonight could have easily doubled the other way. So to me, that's pressure when you're behind. So now that we're tied up, it's a much more comfortable feeling, at least for me.
Scott Yarja, Moto Now blog. Coop, what was your mentality like after the heat race? Did you learn anything from Jet? Did you change anything on the bike?
No changes. I just made that mistake, and he was able to get me. I was pretty happy with it. I think like I said, we've seen this year where he's come out and been able to get around me and pull away. So I feel like me, him, and Chase rode really good in that heat, and I was happy with it.
Jason Wygant, do you have a follow-up?
Yeah, thanks, Dan. Cooper, I'm going to ask you about your team. You guys win both classes in Hunt. Eli won last week. It's kind of what your team does. What did you guys do with the break? And knowing that you were closing the points, what do they say? What do they do to fire you up? Because I know that you seem to have a very similar personality the way your team operates.
Yeah, we definitely gel well. We're fiery people, and we just, at the end of the day, like, I needed to be faster, and so we worked a lot on that, and we worked on how to get faster in more efficient ways, and I think that paid off. Like I said, the bike I haven't touched since December, so just kind of working on some things with myself to get faster and be able to have the same pace as these guys up front, and I think today showed that with practice, and even the main event, like, it wasn't a track that you could go and just have crazy speed. You had to have a little bit of patience mixed with some creativity, but overall I felt like today I was confident to know, all right, if the pace is I can hold that.
Let's wrap it up with Jamie Guida.
Jamie Guida, Vital MX. I've got two short ones if we have time, but Chase, first one's for you. Beginning of the season, you had a few frustrations with trying to get comfortable on the bike. Recently, you've been telling our guy Lewis Phillips that you've been a lot happier. A night like tonight, are you frustrated or are you happy?
A little bit of both. Obviously, I would have loved to make a late race pass, but I think for me, on these conditions where it's really slippery, I think that's when I've struggled the most this year. And tonight, I think that was a good step in the right direction. I wasn't super happy after the heat race and kind of went back to where I was all week in practice and stuck with that. So it was good, and like I said, it's just a big difference going from what I was on before to I feel like to where I'm at now it's a big difference. So getting used to it and also trying to use the bike where it's really good and also kind of back off it where maybe it's not the greatest. So it's kind of a give and a take, and that's kind of what I'm learning at this point and trying to not fix my riding but adapt my riding to the new bike.
All right, Coop, this one's for you. I want a good answer out of this, all right? I have to give a little bit of credit to Steve Mathis. He tweeted that you're the only guy on the line with no jacket on. We know you like some head game sometimes. Is there anything to it?
Yeah, you just got to jack it off sometimes.
Okay, not the answer I expected, but we'll go with it.
That was a good answer.
It was a good answer.
We'll end it on that one. Give it up one more time. Cooper Webb, Chase Sexton, and Ken Roxon. Brilliant racing. That's awesome. Too good. Too good. Drew Adams. Okay, yeah, a couple questions. All right, cool. Let's keep it going with our Futures winner. Big round of applause. Drew Adams. Solid run. Drew, we've been meeting a lot at these press conferences. I think the third time here out of 4 races. Congratulations. You take the points lead, and going into the actual championship, you're in a good spot. Like Cooper Webb, I want you to take us through. It was a great start, wire-to-wire win out there. And you said it was a little harder for you last time, but you still had to put in some work to get this win as well.
Yeah, so 2 weeks ago at St. Louis, I had a pretty bad start. I had a pretty bad start going into the first turn, and so that's just what we've been working on the past 2 weeks, just executing the starts better. And once you get a good start, the race is a lot easier.
Yeah, solid.
Yeah.
Well, it went very well. I think it was over a 12-second gap at the finish again. Well done. Let's go inside. Scott?
Yeah, Scott Yarjamoto now vlog. Three wins in a row. It's starting to look pretty easy for you. I have to ask, do you know when you're going to be turning pro? And, is that something you're talking about with the team already?
I don't have anything confirmed yet, but, I'm just going to try and keep doing what I'm doing, and hopefully something comes pretty soon.
Let's go to Brad Gephardt.
Brad Gephardt, Verb Moto. When you go back to the Lawrence compound after this week, is there a little bit of bragging rights that you've been doing a little bit more winning than the Lawrence boys, or
Nah,
are they going to let you enjoy this?
I mean, I wouldn't say that. I'm still in the kids class compared to them, so even with Jed and them guys getting fifths and stuff, it's still probably a little bit better than what I'm doing.
Fair enough. Thanks.
Let's go to Jason Wygant.
Yeah, thanks. Jason from RacerX and NBC. Drew, are there things that you learn at the races that you then go apply during the week and then bring them to the next races, or is it just race day stuff, or are these things you can find during the week to help?
I mean, we learn a lot every weekend, something new, and you can't really replicate what you do here at the track, at the training facility, but we try and get the tracks broken down enough like they would here, but it's hard to replicate. So as these rounds have went on, I've really adapted to it a little bit more. Like A2 is a little scary, the track, and learning it and stuff, but now it's starting to feel natural.
Kellen?
Yeah, thanks. Kellen Brower with MotoOnline.com. As you just alluded to, you seem like you're getting better at each of these rounds. Can you kind of just give me a synopsis of how much better each round has felt for you every time you go out there?
I mean, yeah, it's definitely a big difference, just because none of us have really raced Supercross before, such a big improvement in between all the rounds, and we just get more track time and more experience every weekend, and it helps us a lot.
Jamie Guida?
Jamie Guida, Vital MX. Drew, you just sort of joked about this being the kids' class compared to the Lawrence brothers, but the idea of Futures is to build confidence, to get you comfortable for when you do go pro. And I would have to assume over these last few rounds, you're building that confidence. Just kind of talk about what the Futures program has done for your confidence and for how you feel about racing Supercross.
Oh, I mean, it's boosted me a little bit. I try and stay humble, but I think the Futures program is great for what's to come for us amateur riders, but I think that it really helps us, prepare for the pro races and stuff.
Brent Bowser?
Brent Bowser, Whiskey Thorough Media. Drew, you've made this race look pretty easy. You have 3 wins this year. Riding at the Lawrence compound and also riding with maybe your teammates at Pro Circuit, what's something that you think that, getting to the next step that you need to improve on? I mean, obviously you made this race look really easy tonight, but is there something that you need to work on to, get to that next level when you want to make your transition to pro?
I think I need to work on my starts the most, because tonight I had a pretty good start, but you can't perfect it every round, and that's one thing that I think is probably 50% of the race is getting the whole shot.
All right, let's end.
Mitch. Mitch Kendra from RacerX. Obviously, you mentioned Futures program preparing you to be a pro one day. Talk about how much, obviously Supercross is such a learning curve. How much are you learning, bike testing-wise and bike setup-wise, so, just to know what to do during the week and then come to race day, make small adjustments, and that, again, maybe you don't have the perfect setup, but what what it's going to look like when you do turn pro there?
Yeah, that's definitely kind of new to me. I've never really done too much testing, but I learn every time I do it, you know, and try and give the best feedback I can. But it's pretty new to me for that stuff. Yeah.
And then real quick, you had a birthday recently. Did you do anything special with your birthday?
No, just won a race. That was it. Yeah.
Good birthday present to yourself. Give it up, Drew Adams, the winner here in Foxborough for the Futures class. Great job, bud. All right, we're going to keep it rolling here. We're going to get Cameron McAdoo in just a minute. He was second place. Hayden Deegan in first. Tom Vial in second. Round of applause for them as Cameron makes his way up. Gets a little bit chilly. Hayden Deegan, I want to start with you, bud. We're holding our breath a little bit in your heat race out of the sand section. You were firing out. You were going pretty fast there, and then you came out in the main event and just dominated. It was a fantastic race. Second career win for you. Take us through what happened in the heat race for you, and did that fire you up to get you going in the main and help you get that win?
Yeah, I was devastated. I was riding really good in the heat race, and it's like, I've been working on the whoops a lot. Like, I went down to Claremont and worked with one of my old teammates, and we just worked whoops. And, dude, I could literally hit the whoops wide open. It just felt so good. And I was like, I was doing that in heat race, and, you know, that's where I was catching the guys mainly. And then, yeah, I just went for the lead on the inside right there where I passed Seth the lap or two before. And I think I hit my shifter or maybe my rear brake, and it just stalled. And, dude, I was like, God, there's no way I just did that, dude. I'm so mad right now. But obviously now I gotta, you know, tame the tempers. That's what we worked on. But yeah, I was frustrated.
Well, whatever you did, it worked, man. Well done. Way to keep it under control. Let's start here, Mitch.
Mitch Kendra from RacerX Online. Cameron, when you made it into second, was there a push to try and get Hayden? And then at some point, did you kind of settle in and just know the championship big picture wise?
Yeah, by the time I got into second, I think Hayden had like 3 or 4 seconds on me. And I was trying some areas to you know, obviously make up some time and see what I could do, just because I knew that with how slick it was, there was, you know, some potential for some mistakes, even like what he was just talking about in the heat race and stuff. But there wasn't really anywhere that I felt that I could make up a bunch of time, and he was riding really good. Like he threw some big laps down, you know, in the beginning, and then so yeah, I was trying. Honestly, I dealt with some pretty significant arm pump tonight, and it's not something I usually deal with, so that was kind of frustrating. But yeah, I pushed as much as I could, and what I felt was reasonable, you know, safe.
On the arm pump, was it the track? Was it bike set related? Is there anything you could point it out to, or?
Honestly, I think it had to do with how slick the track was. Just trying to accelerate on the slick stuff, and it was really cold tonight, so not super sure, but could be a list of things. You know, it's just one of those things where when it comes up, you're just like, it's so frustrating. But yeah, it was a good night.
Scott Yarja, Moto Now blog. Hayden, how much of that race was you managing it once you had that like 3 to 4 second lean, as Cameron mentioned?
Yeah, definitely. At the beginning, I mean, I pulled the whole shot, which I was like, dude, this is what I need, you know? If I can get out front, then I can ride my own race. But yeah, I just got out front, and I just laid down like a couple sprint laps, and then got a good gap where it was like, obviously Cameron wasn't able to get me, you know? Like I was able to hold that gap and just managed it, and that's what I feel like is the best thing to do in this 250 class, is try to get out front, obviously early, sprint, and then just manage, and that's what I felt like I did pretty well. And this track was very mistake-prone, like the heat race, I'm in a mistake, and the slick slides out, like McAdoo said, so yeah, just to be no mistake-free and right up front was what I was focused on, and we were able to do it.
Andrea.
Andrea Ruggiero, Moto Now blog. Tom, it seemed like you started jumping the whoops later in the race. Was there any specific strategy or reason behind that?
I actually skimmed the whoops the whole moto. I think I jumped like for the last maybe 3 or 4 laps. I was far from Cameron and nobody was really behind me, so I was trying to be a little bit safe and was kind of struggling a little bit with the bike setup. The track was really hard packed and slippery. I got a little bit amp in the main event, but just trying. I couldn't do much more, I think, tonight than 3, so just trying to save and actually third was the best I could do tonight, I think.
Jason Wygant.
Yeah, thanks, Dan. Hayden, is this by far the best you've been in Supercross? I mean, the results were good last year, but do you feel you've made big strides? We just hadn't really had the chance maybe to see it yet for year 2.
Yeah, definitely, and I think some of the main event starts as well has kind of held me back a little. Obviously, crashing as well will bite you, but yeah, this is the best I've felt so far in Supercross, and I had more in the tank. I was riding at like 85-90%, just managing the race, and if Cameron did get closer, obviously I could have picked it up quite a bit, but it's just that management you're talking about, being smooth, and yeah, but it definitely feels good to finally let it out and just, go out and get a win.
Jamie Guida.
Jamie Guida, Vital MX. Tom, my question's for you. You've mentioned the track conditions, and from home it did look like it was a track very difficult to push on. So once you get midway, do you just kind of decide to settle in? You have to you change your mentality of just salvaging the points and accepting a third?
I don't know. I've tried. When I started second being ahead, and I was really like, okay, I felt great actually. The first 5 minutes, I was pretty close, and then I had a few mistakes in some corner, and then kind of losing some time. And Cameron passed me, and I was still pretty close, but I couldn't really find some line. And like I said, I was kind of struggling from the first practice on the bike setup. I tried a lot today, but I never really find something great. And I feel like I couldn't really ride at 100% and really push on the track. So I tried to, when I was in third and like 5 laps to go, I tried to settle for third. And we didn't lost a lot of points for the championships. And yeah, we're gonna work this week on the bike and try to find some better setting for next weekend.
Thank you.
Brad Gephardt.
Thanks, Brad Gephardt, Verb Moto. Let's go straight to Cameron on this one. Cameron, how many real changes have you made to the Kawasaki throughout this last year? You've been on that platform for quite some time. It has changed, but you're pretty familiar with the team and the platform.
Yeah, actually, we've had some pretty big bike changes. The engine they were doing a lot of good work on towards the end of Outdoors last year. I obviously missed Outdoors last year, so I didn't get to pick up on that. But and yeah, we've just some different chassis changes as well. Kind of all around, I think every team changes stuff every year. We all have to try to push to progress, but I think in general that we've all kind of made some good steps in the right direction with the bike around the team. So I'm really comfortable, and yeah, I just need to execute a couple things maybe a little bit better. Definitely get some better starts. That'd be helpful, but no, I'm really happy with where the bike's at right now.
Also, is this the most healthy you've been as a pro?
It's kind of funny you say that because I came into the season very unhealthy and with my shoulder, and then in the first turn in Detroit, what happened, and I fractured my tibia in my legs. So I am very healthy now though, and it's great to be this far finally into a Supercross season and just stacking good races together and being healthy and staying consistent. It does feel good.
Great, thanks.
Ryan Nitson.
Yeah, thanks, Ryan Nitson with Cycle News. My question is also for Cameron. Red plate coming into this weekend, and then you leave with it again. You kind of just touched on it a second ago, but can you talk about, from your point of view, having the pressure of the red plate and riding consistent races and trying to take this thing home?
Yeah, I honestly came into the weekend with the same mindset that I've had all year. Just race tonight, and that's something that I think I've struggled with in the past, and I think it's ended up biting me, starting to think forward or think too far into things, and it's great to have the red plate at round 6. the furthest into the series that I've been the points leader. So it's exciting, and I'm really excited to just take this thing to the end with these guys. It's gonna be a hard fight.
Kellen Brower.
Yeah, thanks. Kellen Brower with MotoOnline.com. Hayden, for you, this is your second Supercross win, but the first one, you obviously spent a lot of it in second and led the last couple of laps. How much different did this one feel leading from the start all the way to the end and being out front that whole time?
Yeah, it was just awesome. I love when I can just get out in front and go. Like, it's not fun, trust me, you're coming through the pack. It's just not great. But, yeah, I feel like in outdoors where I could start up front and just race race a pro national up front, it gives you that feeling of how nice it is, right? Not getting roosted and stuff. And then when you get up and do it in Supercross, it's almost, you get that feeling back where you're just get to do your own race, lead, knock off your laps, hit your lines, and ride smooth. And it's just, it's nice.
Brent Bowser.
Yeah, Brent Bowser, Whiskey Throttle Media. My question's for Tom. Tom, second year in Supercross, you're right in this championship battle. How does the pressure in this championship battle stack up against the pressure for when you had 2 MXGP title wins over in Europe?
I mean, I try to be. I mean, when I go to the race, I try to do every race kind of the same. I always try to do my best, and no matter what. And yeah, of course, I kind of know, like, we have 3 races to go, so it's gonna be really important, I think, next weekend. And I'm gonna have to be good at the race. And it's only 3 races to go. It's actually pretty short championships. Let's say I used to race for like 18 or 20 Jeep in Europe, so here it's only like 9 or 10 races, and it's pretty short. Like, the mistake are really cost, so you need to be careful and be there every race. So it's only 3 races to go. It's gonna be nice. It's gonna be a good fight at the end for sure.
Congrats.
Mitch from RacerX Online. Hayden, obviously your second Supercross season, got some wins now and some podiums. How much do you weigh like bike test and setup versus like you just know you have to do it yourself? Like, how do you, and I guess like if you're not feeling in qualifying, I guess how do you manage knowing whether it's a bike setup or it's just you just got to deal with it and kind of ride through it?
Yeah, definitely. I've been a guy where I don't really tend on my bike setup to do good. I feel like I can just switch my mind on when it's race time and just take off, and deal with what I'm dealt with. Like, I can adapt to it. But obviously, bike setup, when you have your bike right, it's like it's a perfect 100% good race. But when you don't have the bike right, I'm pretty solid at just being able to adapt to the bike and make do of it. And it honestly doesn't hinder me when my bike's not the greatest at the races. Sometimes with suspension but right now we have the bike super solid. I mean, as you guys can see, it was perfect tonight. And yeah, obviously the Star Yamaha is the best bike, and that's known. We just need the guys and me to go out there and show you guys that it's still the best bike.
All right, Scott
Yarja, Moto Now blog. Cameron, you mentioned taking the race by race, but with only 3 races left and a little bit of a points lead, are you starting to do the math, thinking, okay, second is fine, you're ahead of Vial, you're only losing 3 to Hayden?
Honestly, not really. It's like they're so important. Every point counts, obviously, and you wanna get every point you can. And obviously, Tom and I are really close, and Hayden's really not that far back either. So, but like I said, like, it's been working for me. This kind of the way I've been approaching it, my mindset, like just taking everything that I can get each night, and not going for more than what I'm capable of. And so that was kind of something that has been important all year, and I think will be for these last 3 races too. And especially for 2 of them being shootouts, that's going to be exciting.
Jamie Guida.
Jamie Guida, Vital MX. Yeah, Cam, I actually wanted to ask you about the showdown and to kind of piggyback off Scott's question. Does the game plan change at all for a showdown? Because a bad start there could actually lose you more points than in just a normal East Coast race.
No, I think the game plan's the same, because the game plan is definitely not to start 10th like tonight. So you want to start up front no matter what, whether it's, where 3 or 4 good guys who, are capable of getting a win, or 7 or 8. So it's obviously a little bit more important. And I think that there's potential for bigger point swings, obviously, in the shootouts, and with 2 of our next 3 races being them. I think it's going to have a factor. But I do think that something I always say, kind of the cream rises to the top, So may the best guy win.
Sounds good. Thanks.
And I'm going to extend that with Jamie Guida's question. I'm going to go to Hayden and then Tom. Any different strategy for the East-West Showdown coming up in Nashville for you two?
No different strategy, same mindset. Just, the goal is obviously to win that thing, and that would be a big statement. But again, it's racing. Anything happens. But obviously, my goal is to go out there and try and win.
Tom?
Yeah, it's gonna be like 3 races to go, and we're gonna have 2 races like that. So those 2 are gonna be important for sure. And I think for everyone, we just try to race our best, and we don't really focus on that. It's gonna be for sure more guys up there, but the start is gonna be important once again, and just focus on your home race.
We're looking forward to watch you 3 out there and the rest of them. Give it up, Hayden Deegan, Cameron McAdoo, and Tom Vial, our podium for the 250
Thank
East.
you.
Thanks again for everybody showing up. Thanks to our VIPs for showing up as well. We appreciate you hanging out here and witnessing this post-race press conference. And again, we're going to wrap it here, and we will see you next week in Nashville. Thanks again.